Afternoon everybody, and welcome back to Birmingham Wildlife Conservation Park for the latest in our Wednesday Facebook Live videos. Today we are on our last alphabet themed video. We're up to the letter Z, so we've been doing this for 26 weeks. Z is going to stand for zoo today. So we're just going to talk about kind of the work that zoos do and what we do as part of that. If anyone's got any questions or anything, to be fair, questions today could just be about anything really to do with zoos or what we do and things like that. Feel free to send them in and I'll do my best to answer them for you. We might just try and have a bit of a wander around and a bit of more of a discussion than just me talking at you today. Hi Mary, hope you're okay. Obviously we are called Birmingham Wildlife Conservation Park, but we are a zoo. Zoo obviously being short for zoological garden, which just basically means exhibiting animals. Where's Mo? He's up there, right in the most awkward spot where I can't actually see him. Hi Ellie, hope you're all okay. And zoo, obviously, I think some people still think it's a bit of a dirty word, because things in the past obviously weren't great. Animals were there more for entertainment purposes than anything else, whereas now conservation, education, research, and all those kinds of things are the priority. Alfred. They are the priority nowadays. Obviously animal welfare is much higher than it was. You're right, Alfred. Hello. What are you doing, buddy? We are members of BIAZA and IAZA here, which are the British and Irish and then the European Associations of Zoos and Aquaria. And that means we've got certain standards and things that we abide by. And it means that we, like I say, we've got those certain standards that we do abide by, to make sure that we are able to do the work that we do. Just got Mo here having a bit of a groom here. See what else is going on. Like I say, the main things for us are conservation, education, and research, as well as the welfare of our animals. Let's see if Spins are up and about. All in bed. Don't know if you can just see Thor there. Hi Judith, hope you're okay. I hope you're enjoying the cricket. So conservation wise, we take part in a number of breeding programs here at the park that are kind of European-wide, European breeding programs. Any individuals that are bred here will either stay here as part of family groups or move on to other collections to go and have little ones of their own. These breeding programs help to create what we call like a safety net population for certain species, with the view to reintroductions and things in the wild when things in the wild are a little bit better than they are now. So certain species are starting to be reintroduced back into the wild from these breeding programs, which is great. So hopefully things can ramp up with other species soon as well. Education is also another, going back to the conservation thing, we do also raise money for conservation charities. So we had a World Binturong Day earlier this year, which was raising money for AB conservation. We've done it with Komodo dragons and things like that as well. Here's the meerkats and the porcupines, and all that kind of thing as well. So So yeah, we participate in kind of in situ conservation, as it's called, by raising money for things like that as well. Education is another important aspect of the job. So trying to educate people on animals and how to respect them and what they kind of need in the wild, things like that. Mary, hopefully we might have some little ones off these two at some point. I am looking at the female in front of us. She is looking quite round, but she may have just had a big breakfast, so I haven't heard any news of these guys being pregnant, but yeah, hopefully we'll get some little ones off these two at some point and build a bit of a bigger mob. That'll be lovely. So yeah, it's a good question, Ellie. When animals are going to be reintroduced into wild, it isn't simply, so for example, say we breed the red pandas here, we couldn't then send our offspring straight off into the wild. Generally you go through like a kind of soft release program, which might mean that offspring that are born in zoos over here end up going over to the country of release, staying as a captive animal, but then having their own offspring in a kind of semi-wild environment, and then those offspring of the offspring are the ones that would eventually go out into the wild. So yeah, it's just trying to get them into a more wild state. Places such as Highland Wildlife Park up in Scotland do some good work. They've got amur leopards completely off show to the public in a pretty much wild enclosure, for want of a better way of putting it, with the view that any cubs they might have will be released into the wild. Same with their Scottish wildcat programme. The wildcats up there are in an enclosure, but they are pretty much wild. So yeah, that's the way to kind of do it, really. It's it is about getting the animals used to less human contact. So yeah, like I was saying, education is also important. Just trying to teach people about animals and what they need in the wild and how to respect them. So we do that through keeper talks, educational signage around the site, videos such as this one, and things like that. So yeah, having that educational aspect is very important. For example, just walking past the sign here that is all about breeding programs, which I was just kind of talking about. So whenever you visit, feel free to have a good read of the signs. They should give you a lot of information. Come to one of our keeper talks, or just collar one of the keepers and ask us any questions you might have, and we'll do our best to help you out. Like I say, the last one is research. Research is quite important as well. Captive animals, as well as being kind of ambassadors for their species and ambassadors for their species and part of this captive safety net. They are also good opportunities to learn more about animals. So we get students coming in and doing research on animals, as well as the universities and things like that. Just coming to find out a little bit more about certain aspects of animals' lives that are more difficult to kind of work out in the wild. So yeah, it's important to be able to take part in that research. We've got some research going on at the moment. I'm not sure if I can actually say what it's about, but we do have some unis involved in that, and other such things like that. So yeah, there is the scope for that as well. Here's one of our capybara having a snooze. So yeah, zoos are definitely much more of a place now for much more than just entertainment as they used to be. They are very much kind of the forefront of ex situ conservation, as we call it, conservation away from the natural habitat and the wild. And they do let us learn a lot more about animals, and then let us pass that knowledge onto the public as well, which is really important, especially in times that we live in at the moment, with so much issues with wild habitats and things like that. So yeah, just trying to see the spider monkeys if they're out. So yeah, that was pretty much me just rattling through the importance of zoos nowadays in the modern world. Like I say, welfare is also very important. We try and strive to have the highest standards of welfare possible. So regularly updating diets and enclosure requirements and things like that, providing each animal with all its kind of specific and individual needs. So anything from these pond turtles here, you can just see out basking, to the spider monkeys, who are, well, we've got the back of Gucci by the look of it over there. There he is. Hello, mate. So yeah, they've all got very different requirements, and we try to match them as best as we can. Oh, my favourite animal to work with. So my section's what we call it, carnivores, predators, but I've also got the lemurs and things like that as well. Red panda is great. Mo, our little red panda, is lovely. I love working with the binturong. The red ruff lemurs that have arrived recently are brilliant. It changes. The bush dogs, ocelot lynx. It's a difficult question, because depending on what's going on at the time, you know, if you've bred something or if something's a bit poorly, you spend a bit more time with them, and then, you know, mate, how Dabra tortoise here. You spend a bit more time with them, and then they kind of come to the front, and yeah, it is one of those that does just constantly kind of rotate depending on what is going on at that time. So yeah, for me at the moment, binturong just as ever, because they're brilliant. Bush dogs as well, because they're doing quite well as a little group, which is lovely. It's one of our golden lion tamarins just having a shout. So yeah, like I say, it constantly changes really. No, Judith, we haven't seen the dippers this year, which is a shame. No, it was really nice that we had the dippers on the brook last year. I don't know if it's just because it was obviously quieter due to COVID last year. If that's why they set up and now everything's kind of back to normal, they've decided to disappear, and move somewhere a bit quieter. I'm not sure, but I can just see Alfred and one of the red ruffs there. But yeah, no, unfortunately we haven't seen them this year. Hopefully they'll be back at some point. It was lovely watching them last year. Right then, guys, if you've got any last minute questions, feel free to send them in. I will do my best to answer them for you. Otherwise we will call it a day on that. And like I say, this is our last alphabet video, the last of our alphabet series. So yeah, next week we'll be trying to start something new. So yeah, I think I'll probably start on our critically endangered species and try and tell you a bit more about them next year. So next week even. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Actually, we might start that in a couple of weeks, because I'm in next week and then I'm off for a week. So maybe we start a new series after that, and then maybe next week is just a something else. I'll have a think, but that's the kind of long-term plan. Just we have a look at the agouti here. Yes, Lorraine, so we're going to be trying to do animal talks on site throughout the holidays, depending on staff and things like that who's in. Every day I'm in, I'm going to be trying to do at least one talk a day, and then yeah, the videos will be carrying on as well. Like I say, I am off one of the Wednesdays, so we won't have a video that week, but after that should be back to normal service. Oh, animals are hardest work on my section. Let me have a think. Bush dogs are out. Let's see these guys out and about. My section, the most difficult. The bin throwing and otters is just a lot of hard work. That's mainly just because the enclosure, there's a lot of glass in there that needs cleaning, and quite a few beds that need changing and things like that. Ocelot enclosure as well takes a little while. Just returning the mulch in there and things like that, and all the windows in there as well. Squirrel monkeys are very mucky. They're probably the muckiest out of everybody. They make the biggest mess, bless them. So yeah, I think actually animal wise the squirrel monkeys are probably worse because they do make the biggest mess out of everybody. Bush dog family have come out for a little drink, which is nice. We will come and have a closer look actually. Try not to spook them. And I think we will call it a day with these guys. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed our alphabet series. It's been quite nice to have a different focus like that every week. Like I say, we will be starting a new series, maybe in a couple of weeks rather than next week. But yes, we will be back next week, but it might just be a general video, I think, and then we'll start something new in a few weeks. I think is probably the best way of doing it. But yeah, thank you as ever for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Nice that we've got the bush dogs out, like you say, Richard, and yeah, we will be back same time, same place next week, so tune in then. Cheers, guys. Thank you.